to the Urban Suburban Garden. In this week's episode, we're going to take a look at the two veg areas, the two grow areas actually. Got some new news, small stuff, nothing major that's kind of going on that I just kind of noticed. Remember when I started the garden, I told you about me re-amending the soil that I used from last year, and which I did. And here in this last week, I have been noticing plants popping up out of the soil that I hadn't planted this particular year. And I'm gonna start right here in this container here. This one here. Now this is a 10-gallon pot. Now we started off, as you can see, that's a marigold in there. There was two of them, there's another one on the back side. But as the weeks went on, you see this plant here started coming up. It's a tomato plant, and that's from last year. So that's one of them that just kind of came back on his own. I said, well, it started growing, so I threw a tomato cage in there and I let it go. Right behind her, that's one of the zucchini plants, and that's really yellow. I think it's just getting too much sunlight. I thought it was supposed to get 6 plus hours a day, in which it does, but I'm not sure. Now, I did just fertilize that again to try to help it with the nitrogen, because the yellowing in the leaves lets me know that it's a lack of nitrogen in the soil. So I have upped my feeding on her, gave her a little fish fertilizer, NPK 511, and let's see if she turned around, because her sisters are in here also. I'm going to show you those in a second, and they're kind of the same way. Let's get over here in the corn section. Back out so you can see how big these girls are getting. As you can see, my 2 rows of corn, 16 total, are getting pretty damn big and are doing really well. Now I got a couple comments about pollination. When you run your corn the way I have them stacked here, they have less chance of getting pollinated once the wind gets to blowing the pollen around. So you want to kind of do it I would have taken this row and put it right next to this row, and then they would have had their cross pollination this way and then that way. The way I got them set up now, it's just going to blow the wind, whatever direction going is just here. So to help me out in that situation, I'll do what I did last year when I had corn growing. I pollinated them. So what all I did was pull the tassels off. I think that's what tennules, tassels, or something like that. And I rubbed them all over the silks, wrapped them up in it, and did that whole thing to each one of them. And I had a hell of a harvest last year of corn. So I was aware of exactly what one of the commenters, a couple of commenters had mentioned about the way I got the corn set up in here. They like the garden, but because of what I just mentioned, have less chance of getting them all pollinated unless I do it by hand. So yes, I'll definitely be doing that by hand to make sure I get a maximum pollination, and hopefully it works out. And in the coming years or the coming later on in the season when I do corn again, it's a possibility that I will move this container right next to this one and leave myself a little walkway right over here on the side here so I can get around them. I expected to kind of put 2 more containers right here in the middle, but I wound up not doing it. But yeah, for the next round later on this year, once these are harvested out, taken out, I don't want to run corn back again. If I can run them in these same pots again, sections, I will. Now last year when I did it in the green containers that I used down in the other garden, the root ball was so big from this corn, I pretty much had to just pull them out of the bags and throw the root ball away. It was just too compressed, I couldn't save the soil. So this year when I did the corn, I figured I'll go on bigger containers, which these are. Each one of these sections here are 16 gallons. And the green ones, which I'm gonna show you when we go back down low to the other garden, each one of those are only 6.5 gallons, So it's much more soil for the root ball to stretch out in. So, and the corn down there with these 6 gallons were fantastic. They were big. So I expect these to get just as big or even bigger, really bigger. So say bigger the roots, the bigger the fruits. So let's see if that's the case with these here. Again, I will be I'll be pollinating. I guess that's called self-pollinating. Pollinating the corn to make sure we maximize on the growth of the corn this year. But that's what the corn looks like. Growing great, no problems. I fertilized these again too. Also put a little extra calcium. No, not over here. These were just with the top dress with the all-purpose fertilizer. And keeping them wet, watered very well, because I know corn takes a lot of water. So, but that's what they look like. I have no issues going on whatsoever that I can see. And if you see something, leave it down in the comments. But it's funny because this one here, I had dropped something on, and I thought I killed it off, but I decided to leave it in there, and it's regenerated itself, and it's slowly catching up to the others. See, it's a little smaller than everything else. That's because it was a little damaged, but we should get some ears out of this one also. But further down here, marigolds looking pretty good. Not looking pretty good. They were bloomed, but the blooms on that one there is dying off, and some fresh ones are coming up. So later on in the summer, because that one there looks damn well. Later on in the summer, they'll bloom up nicely and do what I need them to do. Now let's get over here in this watermelon patch. As you can see, everything over here is doing fantastic. I'm directing the growth of them. These over here, there's a combination of watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew melon over here in this little patch here of 8 sections. But I believe those are, I'm gonna get around to the front, so let me not misspeak. I believe those are the sugar babies, but I know these are cantaloupes, and I'm gonna try to trellis those up this cage, my fence, excuse me. And I'm gonna put another pole like this one here, about right here, for support of the pole. I mean the cage. But let me get around the front side so I can see what is what. Here, sugar babies. Right here, same thing. It says sugar babies, but one of them is a sugar baby. That's going to be that one there. I believe that's going to be a cantaloupe. Yeah, that's cantaloupe, because these are honeydew melons. The yellow watermelon are here and here. And you can already see the vine running this way for those. That's exactly where I want them, because this whole area here is going to be pretty much for those yellow watermelons, because they get huge. The sugar babies, the cantaloupes, and the honeydew melons, I'm going to run up these the fence here, and here, once the vines get long enough to get over into it. And that's mix them up. I'm glad I kept the cups with each one. That's a honeydew melon here, sugar baby there, those two there. So, well, no, the honeydew is in the front, the sugar baby is in the back. Correction. Yellow watermelon, cantaloupe. Let's see. Yeah, this one here, the yellow watermelon. So I only got, what, 2 or 3 yellow watermelons? Yep. 3, 1, 2, 3, yeah, yellow. 3, 4. 4 yellow watermelons out here. So we'll have them run out here on this tarp right here. Not tarp, but my landscape fabric. And cover this area right here. So we should, it's looking great. No problems out of them so far. Don't see any bugs or anything growing on me, eating them up. I did spray them for preventive maintenance. And so far, so good. So we'll be keeping an eye on them in the coming weeks. And later on in the summer, we should have some fantastic melons coming out of this section here. Let's move on over here. And this is what I was saying to you about my zucchini. That I had one, when we first started the video, I was showing you in the bag. That one here is not growing as fast as these here, but they are growing. So that's a zucchini. I don't know what that is coming up out of there. Some kind of flower or something from last year. I'm not sure. I almost think it's a piece of corn, because that's kind of how the corn starts. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Gets too big, I'll take it out of there. But you got a couple sections here. I never planted anything, so I'm gonna use the empty spots for succession growing. later on in the season, when I'm starting back up for my fall grows, I got some empty spots where I'm gonna just start my fall grow plants, whatever I'm putting around there. End of summer into the fall, I'm gonna use those areas there. Again, another zucchini, and this is an eggplant right here. Everything's going pretty well. I'm wondering if I should put a shade cloth over this like I did down there, and we're going to talk about that when we get down there. But just put a little bit more shade on these plants here, because I'm not sure if that's the reason why they're yellowing like this, because everything else looks pretty green. So, and they've been fertilized pretty well. They're doing great. They're growing like crazy. These here looks like they're recovering more than the other ones. But we'll keep an eye on them in the coming weeks. And if y'all have any comments to help me out with the yellowing there, pretty sure it's a nitrogen deficiency. But I did correct it by putting the fish fertilizer in there and top dressing it with some fertilizer. But let's move down to the last section in this group. And that's over here. Oh, you see my flowers doing. And these here are doing fantastic. And that's another one of the spots where I was talking about vegetables are popping up like they did last year. Let me get in a little closer. As you can see, my marigolds are doing great. The bees will love this because they'll come through and they'll pollinate the watermelons and all that other stuff that's up here later on in the season. And that's a vinca right there in the middle. But down here on the end, that plant there, that's another tomato plant that just decided to pop up. So we're going to see what it do. And if it's growing out and it stays healthy, we're going to grow that out in this pot also. And then down here to the last section. And here we have tomato plants here and here. That's what did I think? A Cherokee purple right here and a lemon boy right there. So that's what those two there look like. Up here is all potatoes. White potato is the first section right there. That's the only white potato up here. These two plants, these two, those four, I think it's 2 in there, and it's 4 in there. All of those are red potatoes. And they're doing fantastic. I kind of backfilled them here recently. As you can see, I got the soil line all the way up to the rim of the pot. You know, when you first do the potatoes, white potatoes and I guess the red potatoes, you don't fill up the whole pot. You maybe halfway or 2/3 up. You fill it in, put the potatoes down in there, let them start growing up. As the plants like these start developing, growing up tall like this, then you start backfilling them until they get to the top of the rim of your pot, like in this case here. And that allows for extra potatoes to grow off your vines. So yeah, that's what the potato section look out up here, and these couple tomatoes here. But we're gonna go down to the other section, the original section, because this is section number 2, and we're gonna take a look at the girls down there and see what they do. And I can talk to you more about that shade cloth I got down there. Let's go down there now. Now down here in the lower garden, let's talk about what we got going on here. We'll start over here in this section. Now that's one of the zucchinis that I planted that I have up the hill, and a zucchini section which is right over there. Can't really see them now, but that's where they at, right over there. But that's the sister plant of them, and you see how much better this one is doing than the ones up top. Again, empty spots, and I'll be using later on in the season. The same thing here. And in that tomato plant there is a husky cherry, and it's definitely recovering. It was looking a little rough a couple days back, but I gave it a little amendment, and she's definitely looking better now. It looks like she's about to take off and starts growing like she should. And then let's go back over this way, and these are some more of my flowers, vincas and marigolds, doing well. Vincas are doing really well. That's the pink flower there. Then we got the white potatoes right here. And these were the first sets of white potatoes that I put out, as you can tell, because these already have flowers growing on them. Right up there, I think the birds are coming in here, eating off the top of my flowers, as you can see that right there. But yeah, they're doing fantastic. I done backfilled these pots also. So they're all the way up to the top. And these are the potato pots. So you see they got the little doors down on there. So later on in the season, when the potatoes get to rocking and rolling, I could pop the door open and see what I got growing down there. And it's like that in each one of these pots here. Just take a step inside. And in here, flowers again, marigolds, vincas and marigolds. I forgot what this thing here is called. I keep calling it a Cialis, but that's a damn medicine. Calalis, a Calilios, or something like that. But she's doing fine. Down here, tomatoes. The first two sections anyway. These are my big boy right there. And early girl is right here, the second one. Cucumbers here. And they starting to run up my fence like I wanted to. Same thing with that one. Both of those are cucumbers. This was going to be all tomatoes here. That's why these rods are here. I was going to do that little Florida weave thing they got going on. Or I was going to run them. Initially, I was going to run them straight up the root style. And have the tomato plants and the cucumber plants tie onto the root and run straight up. But I made a couple of changes during the course of setting this up. I got a late start in the season. So change it up to like this, so it works fine. Again, those were the two cucumbers. Now we over here to my pepper plants. Hot peppers there, sweet pepper there. Doing great, no problems. Later on this summer we'll see a little bit more growing. We got some stuff starting to pop up out of them though. As you can see down there, I guess the fruits are starting to develop, at least the flower, to where the fruit will eventually be. Not as much on this one. But that you can see those ones down in there. But yeah, they're doing good. Let's keep on going. More flowers. And then that whole row. Well, 4 sweet potatoes. All 4 of those are sweet potatoes. And then in this particular pot here, got 2 of them in there. Hopefully they don't be overcrowded. But that's what the sweet potato vines are looking like for now. They'll eventually take off and run right over top of this fence. Just keep it moving. Strawberry patch. And I picked quite a few strawberries off here between me and the birds. I'm trying to get to them before the birds get to them. But I've definitely got quite a few. Let's get down in here a little bit. You can see, I know there's some down here. Yep, there you go. Look at all those right there. So I definitely need to get in here and get the birds got to that one. That was a nice size one too. Look at the size of that. But see, that's starting to rot right there. So let the birds have a little bit, and then I get a little bit like this one. Perfect strawberry. So yeah, they're nice and sweet. Definitely eat this one. It's damn good when you can just come to your garden and pull off some fruit and just eat it. Much better than buying them at the store. I'll keep the tour going. Some more marigolds. And my onion patch. Up here in my onion patch, I do red onions across the back row. And they're not doing that well this year. And then I got some tomato plants popping up out of here also. Wow. And the red tomatoes are starting to grow there, but I don't expect to get much of anything out of these. Couple back there. Across the front, nothing. Just these couple here that I have here. So I don't expect to get anything out of the onions this year. I need to do a little bit more research and work on how to grow these onions, because I haven't been successful with these yet. We'll keep the tour going. More flowers. And then here my peas. Purple peas on this side, green beans, beans. Purple beans on this side, green beans on that side. And they grow up this trellis. And they've already kind of latched on. as you can see, and they're starting their run. Another one of my flowers. And then we're over here to my shade cloth. Now, let me back over here. Now, the shade cloth, and the reason for it is that most of the plants in this area here, well, no, excuse me, all the plants under the shade cloth are plants that I kind of started late, that I wish I would have got in a month prior to when I did, because I would have had to harvest at least already. Now, some of this right up here is my spinach and my lettuce. I've been coming out here periodically when I'm making my salads, and during dinner, I come up here and I take some up out of here. So I've been using plenty of that. Now, back there in the corner, that's my cabbage. And I sprayed them one time with some BT because I was getting some bug issues going on. Let me get around there so you can see. And get down here. Has some holes, as you can see, some holes in some of the leaves. So I sprayed them, and I haven't seen any new bugs, no new holes developing in here. So the cabbages are starting to grow, and they're doing really well. And I also know they're doing much better now that I have the shade cloth up here. Before I put the shade cloth on here, they were looking a little rough. Excuse my camera work. Try to look on the back side of the leaves to make sure I don't see anything growing down there. But then I don't see anything new. So let me pull this up one more time so you can get a look. And that's what everything looks like under the shade cloth. Now, right behind these cabbages, right there is beets. And those leaves were getting beat up from the sun. But now that I put the shade cloth up, they're doing a hell of a lot better. Right behind those, that's there is the broccoli. And then all the way back there in the corner is baby squash and regular yellow squash. And this row over here, as I said, we got the spinach, romaine lettuce, carrots. And there's two sections of carrots there. The first one is the regular orange carrots, and then the other one is rainbow carrots. I don't know which one is which from here, but that's where it's one section of 4 is rainbow carrots and one section of 4 is the regular orange carrots. I'm gonna go back there so you can see from that end in just a second. But yeah, that's what the section back here looks like. The carrots are right here, and I think those are the rainbows back there, and these are the regular oranges here. Yellow squash back there in that corner, right next to it is the baby squash. And they're looking fantastic. And once I put the shade cloth up, you can see how these leaves are just standing up. I was going to put tomato cages on there and clean these up too, these squashes back here. And I will eventually get in there and get that done. But then cut some of them big ones off, like that one there that's growing down on top of the carrots. No need for those leaves. They're not going to develop any, help the plant any. So I got plenty of leaves up top to get all the sunlight it needs. So, yeah. But that's what I'll be doing to clean this up. Broccoli is doing fantastic back there. And as you can see, look how the squash is running up to the bottom of that the shade cloth there. So, and there's another one over there in the corner. You see how they both vine right up to the fence. So yeah, we got some growth and it's doing fantastic. Let me get from up under this. Oops, excuse the camera work once again. And that's the reason for my shade cloth. It works out fine. Definitely something I learned from other grower. I seen his name was Millennium Grower. He did it last year. In his summertime, he threw a shade cloth up and he was able to extend his harvest for plants like these that normally do really well in the cooler spring temperatures or in the fall. He was able to keep them running all the way into the summer using a shade cloth. So that was the reason why I put it up here, to see if it'll work, and damn if it didn't. Fantastic idea. Thanks, Millennial Grower. But that's what the garden looks like this week. Plants are all doing well. Growing fantastic. And later on in this summer, we'll have some fantastic fruits. My neighbor is getting some yard work done. As you can see, the guy working right over there. She having her whole backyard paved. There's people over there real quick, as you can see. But yeah, before the noise comes, let's end this video. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next one, keep growing.